You are somebody who is so twisted, who is so scared, who's such a coward that you want to make people believe that God will not protect the believers, nor will he protect Abraham's promise, nor will he protect the city that he said that he will protect, just so that you don't fight, just so that you don't go stand up against the antichrist, anti-God system called Zionism. One thing that's beneficial, that's an outcome of the war between Gaza and the Zionist state, well, the Palestinians in general, is the fact that a lot of people are showing their true colors. When it comes down to theology and understanding the religion that God has bestowed upon us, their true essence is showing. You could clearly see those that understand what it means to have a relationship with God compared to those that are just part of a cult. That they have their chores that they do and they think that's the extension of their religion. And then that they're able to do and say whatever they want in the world other than the clear forbidden things that they can't do. But you can clearly see that a lot of those individuals, when it comes down to the religion, they actually have no idea what they're saying. Because they have maybe submitted, but the faith hasn't entered their heart. As God said in the Quran, do not say we're believers, say we're submitters. And when the faith has entered your heart, then you are a believer, then you're a mu'min. Now the word mu'min, it comes from the word amn, or security, or safety. So people find safety and security, or like a home feeling with the things they believe in. Those that want to sit and talk about Jesus all day, that's where their mind is. That's where their preoccupation is. People that want to talk about Muhammad and his companions, well, that's the extent of their knowledge. As for the people who want to talk about money and politics all day, or money or politics, that's the extent of their preoccupation. That is where their mind is constantly thinking. And there's others that are entrenched with thinking about God. When they seeing things, they remember God. They remember the verses of God because they constantly practice the verses of God. Those are the people that believe in the book. So when they're judging a situation or they find themselves stuck in a situation, they bring it back to God. Because God said that he sent the prophets with the book so that God can judge between us with the things that we used to differ in. Now we have a differing point, me and the individual that I'm about to show you. But he made some claims and he said some things that have absolutely nothing to do with what the religion says. And this is especially with the fact that what is happening with the oppressed people in Palestine, it's regardless if they're Sunnis or Shia, it's the fact that they do believe that this book is from God. And that's sufficient for them on the day of judgment for something. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to heaven, but they testify that there is a God, that there is a day of judgment, and they are heavily oppressed right now. Now, this individual wants to call the people who are saying what the proper Quranic response that was supposed to be taken a long time ago. He wants to call them certain things and say that they have certain problems, either psychologically or within their body. Now, before we jump into his video, God said that it is the devil that scares his allies. So don't be scared of them and be scared of me if you're a believer. And God said that the devil's plan is weak. So fight the devil. Do you understand that? The devil's plan is weak. Indeed, the devil's plan is weak. So fight the devil. And God wants us to fight against the oppression. God wants us to fight those that are fighting us. Nobody went to America and said that this is how things needs to be. Nobody went to Europe. Nobody went to Europe and said we're going to establish a land there and call it ISIS. Or at that point it will be ISE, the Islamic State of Europe. No one's doing that in this modern age. But now all of a sudden there is a force in the Middle East that is telling us how we should be living our lives. And at the other side, it's oppressing us. It's killing us. It's killing the children. It's killing the mentality. It's killing what you understand of what the religion is. And then Zionist talking points like yourself that you're about to tell me, you just show who your true colors are, who you truly are loyal to. But then you use the Quran against us. But it shows that you have absolutely no idea what the Quran states. In fact, you said a remark that took you out of the fold of Islam because you said that the promise of God is not real, that the promise of God can be tested and can be broken. And I will show you what I mean, because I'll give you a chance to explain yourself in front of everybody.
These people, you know, yeah, a lot of people say that. And frankly, whenever I hear someone beating the drums of war, who is far, far removed from the actual battlefield, from the actual location of where that war is going to take place, when I see someone who's far away beating the drums of war, I automatically assume that that person suffers from erectile dysfunction. Because you're not contributing any kind of useful or responsible or mature suggestion. You're not providing.
How's this for a mature suggestion? And you have a very prime example, which is Hezbollah. So when the Zionist state started to make its aggression on October 8th against the community of Gaza, they took their leave, they took their eye for an eye, 1,000 people died. At that point, the Arab nations were supposed to say, guys, okay, that's enough. Ceasefire. It's time to move forward towards peace. But at that point, you now need to start mobilizing some units. It's not declare war right away. Hey, war on the Zionist states, let's go kill people. Absolutely not. But from a political point of view, if Turkey took some material and some resources and some personnel and started to situate them in Syria, then the Zionist has to what? Dissipate and spread out their resources and save some of the bombs that they did drop on Gaza. Why? Because now there's another force that wants to deal with us. Because Hezbollah alone, a small nation, okay, and how many of a small nation beat a larger nation by the permission of God? That's in this book, the one that you're going to quote soon. And with that said, so Hezbollah took anywhere from a quarter to a third of the Israeli resources, and they tied up American resources in the deterrence. They didn't go in the war in the way that people are saying go in and fight, but they took steps into putting pressure. If two more nations, say the Turkish nation, the Jordanian, the Saudi, or the Egyptian, took steps in regards to that, then the Israelis, the Zionists, not Israelis, the Zionists would have been forced to sit at the table because the threat got bigger. And now if they call your bluff once, they call your bluff twice, you slap them, just like how Hezbollah is doing. And if there is more nation putting that kind of pressure, the world doesn't want a nuclear war exchange. They don't want the nuclear bombs. China would have stepped in. Russia would have stepped in diplomatic ways to make people calm down. But if the Arab nations are just going to sit there and be like, hey, we're deterred, we're going to be quiet, do what you want, they're going to drop all their stuff on Gaza. They're going to go as hard as they want on Gaza. Why? Because, well, no one can stop us. No one can force us to do a ceasefire. Here's the American backing, yet you know very well that the Americans are not capable of running a full-scale war right now with anybody. Their economy is done. Their economy is in shambles. God has put them in that situation because of all the oppression they already did. You do believe in God, right? You do believe that the oppressors in the land are going to cause wars and problems until they can no longer handle it, and then God answers back. You understand that concept? If not, you can go read about Pharaoh. Pharaoh did wars that he can no longer afford by the end of his time, and he was completely removed. Now, with the American state, they cannot sustain a long war with anybody because they're already with their reserve ammunition with everybody. They're already printing way more money than they could to afford what's going on with just Hamas, with just Hezbollah and the Zionist state, and now they've already dumped Ukraine. Going with war with Iran is not as easy as it sounds. Yes, there's people that can get hurt, but if the Arab nations, the Muslims, took steps towards putting pressure, proper pressure, that war would have subsided a long time ago, and it would have been a ceasefire. And if they escalated, well, if the devil's fighting you and his plan is weak, then fight. Or are you scared? Are you deterred? Is there because an American aircraft carrier sitting in the Mediterranean? What about in 5 years' time when they say, hey guys, well, I think it's time for you guys to embrace homosexuality on a political and a family level and in a society where gays are supposed to be okay. And if you're not okay with it, we're gonna put our propaganda machine to work and at the same time park an aircraft carrier and call you the whole lot a terrorist. Are you gonna be like, oh, okay, yes, daddy, no, just don't hurt us, please don't hurt me? What promise of God do you believe in, buddy?
Any realistic suggestion
How's that for a
So you
realistic
can only be
suggestion?
saying what you're saying because you're trying to prove something. You're trying to prove something personal about yourself, to yourself, and to whoever might be listening, to prove you're a tough guy. Because
No, I'm not proving that I'm a tough guy. I'm proving that I believe in God's verses. God said that he is with the believers. God said that many smaller nations defeated a larger nation by the permission of God. God is the one who allows a bomb to drop on somebody. God is the one who's allowing a bullet to hit somebody. If you're truly in faith with God, the second you take steps the way they're taking steps at you, you have already won. It doesn't matter if you were defeated. It doesn't matter if you are a victor. You have already won. This is what it says in chapter 3 of this holy book, which you're supposed to believe in.
when you say something like that, you are immediately exposing the fact that war is an abstraction to you. And you've probably never even been in a fist fight. And when
Okay, with your comment about a fist fight, I am telling you that you need to take steps towards the war. Yes, you need to start putting pressure on this stupid state, that it's time for them to recognize that there is pressure in the Middle East against them. That if they do not want to sit and be a good boy and allow everyone else to get along with their lives, they need to get eliminated as fast as possible. They need to understand that we are not people that you can just pressure away to make us sit quiet just because you brought all the leaders around. That does not make sense to anybody. There needs to be positions that are moving forward that show that there is not only political, military pressure. If you don't like that, then you're the coward. And if you want, I can show you. I can back what I'm saying, because I can get in a fist fight with you, old man, and I can show you how it feels to be a believer and you being a Zionist on the end, the far end, you running away and being a coward, as God described them in what they do in the book. They hide behind walls, they click buttons, and when the forces show, they run like roaches. Do you understand that? They're fighting to survive. Muslims, we're fighting for God. Not to be a tough guy, we're fighting for God's approval. That means you're not even allowed to turn around in battle, other than if you're trying to run a strategy. What are you on about? You're like those hypocrites that is like when war has been written about them. Oh, well, if we didn't know there was going to be fighting, you told us to pray and to give zakat. We didn't know there was going to be fighting. And if you do join the war and you do fight the fighting, you'll be crying the whole time. You're just going to make things worse, and you will not approach the ba'is as much as you should. God said in the Quran that he brought down the iron so that he could see those that will give victory to the messenger and to God in the unseen. Right now, they're using the name of Israel in a way that is not correct. They're saying that Israel was a Zionist, that Israel would be supporting their plan. America has their plan. Whatever. Russia has their plan. Whatever. The Zionist state used the name of God in a way that Daesh uses the name of God to justify murder, oppression, genocide. What are you on about? What are you on about? You're about to make a very grave mistake, and you're about to get called out. You need to understand that you shouldn't be talking to the people who have nothing to lose.
people say that this is the correct Islamic response to what's happening, it always makes me think about the people that we've been told about in the Quran, the people back in the day who rewrote the Torah, who rewrote the Wahi, and they included in it all of these massacres and atrocities that they attributed to the prophets.
Oh, provide your evidence if you're honest. Show me in the Quran where God says that they rewrote the Wahi and that they added massacres so that they could justify what they're doing. Yes, God said that they wrote things by hand and said that it's from God, and it isn't from God. But they did not rewrite no Wahi. Yes, there is corruptions in the gospel. Yes, there is corruptions in the Torah. But this book fixes them. This Quran is supposed to tell children of Israel what they used to differ in. A lot of what they differ in. But if you want to talk about people writing things and saying that it's from God and people before, well, your own nation, the people, if you are Sunni, they wrote things down and said that the prophet said this. And this is from God. And we need to follow this because this book is not enough for us. They added things to after the book of God. When this is the best of hadith, you have your own hadith. In your own hadith, it says that there is going to be a time where you're going to have to fight a bunch of Jews. I'm not calling the Zionists Jews because the Jews is free from that. The actual Judaism is free from Zionism. But now you have to be, calling the people who wrote those bloodlust and crazy. And that, you shouldn't fight the Jews, and all those hadith you need to reject because this is not the time for it. Or what about the hadith that says that the Prophet allegedly said that there's going to be a time when people like you, there's a billion of you, that they are scared of fighting because they are scared of death and they want this worldly life. Yes, this happened to every nation before, so it's predictable. But you want to say that these are prophetic words and this is a prophecy. It's being fulfilled by you. Actually, this is a sign for you that you do need to fight because the majority of the world is like you. So who's the coward, my friend? Who's the coward? Because it surely isn't the people who are ready to put their life on the line.
Because they themselves were not people, the people who wrote this were not people who had morals or principles, and they didn't actually follow what the prophets taught. And they were probably all cowards and sadistic, and they were consumed by the inferiority complex.
Okay, so was this rewritten in the Quran? And Moses told his people, remember God's favor on you. He made you kings in the world. Enter the land that God has promised you. Nah, Moses. We can't. They're too strong. They're too sophisticated. They're too big. They're going to kill a lot of us. You and your Lord go fight. And from all of the children of Israel that were told to go fight these people, or aside from Moses and Aaron, there was only 2 individuals that said like, hey, if we enter this door, we win because God is on our side. No one's going to beat us with God on our side. This is what true faith means. This means that you are trusting God 100%, that the results are in his hand. This is what your whole religion is about. When they went to Badr, they didn't go, oh, we're going to win. This is going to be easy. Now, when they see the forces, when they see many forces lining up against them, they're saying this is what God and his messenger promised us. While the hypocrites were saying, oh, guys, we shouldn't fight. What God and his messenger promised us is delusions. It's not real because we're about to lose. We need to turn around and run. Oh, people of Yathrib, they don't want to even call it Medina anymore. Oh, people of Yathrib, go back home. We're about to lose. Sit, buddy. Sit and tell the other people to sit. Be like the children of Israel, the ones that you're saying that changed their books, the wahi. They changed the wahi of God, as if you can change the wahi of God. Show me the verse where it says they changed the wahi of God. They wrote things that are not from God, just like how you wrote things that are not from God. But the Torah has things that are from God, just like the gospel. You don't know what you're saying, sir.
That's caused when you follow shaitan. So they ascribed their own viciousness and their own bloodlust to the way of the prophets.
Now,
but that's all.
Now, when you want to talk about following shaitan, who's the one who's sitting there making interviews with nobody in the room, nobody asking them anything? Because you have this thing that is being decorated in your mind that people care about your opinion. But the only people who are caring about your opinion are people who are in the majority like you, that they don't understand what the Quran truly says. They don't have a relationship with God. They have a bunch of chores, they have a bunch of sheikhs, and that's what they go with. They have not seen the signs that God said that they are there for the muttaqeen. So for the people who are very aware that God saves them from all sorts of things and mishaps, and you see the signs clearly in front of you and God shows it to you, so he strengthens you with them. You can go ask Hamas about how many signs they've been getting. You can go ask Hezbollah about how many signs they've been getting. Why? Because they've put it on the line. They did something that a lot of people have a problem doing, because fighting is something that is hateful for the human, but they went ahead and did it. What are you talking about? You're sitting in a room where you're just focusing on body language so that you could manipulate people, and God gave you the platform that obviously you wanted so bad. And what did you use it for? In this world, on the day of judgment, you're going to tell God that, hey, I told them not to fight, when it's prescribed for them to fight against the devil, because the devil scares them. And I told them to be scared and don't fight because people will die. And when God said, don't be scared of them and be scared of me, you said, no, you know better. Mr. Bolsen, with his mind and his body language and the way he wants to manipulate people and the way he dresses, when no one is asking him any questions, he wants to put his 2 Zionist cents in. You failed, Mr. Bolsen.
Their fantasy. The blood of the Muslims. Look, for these people who talk like that, the blood of the Muslims doesn't matter any more to them than it does to Netanyahu or to Joe Biden. They want to pretend that they're talking about measures that will act as a deterrence to Israel.
Yes, they are measures to act as deterrence against Israel. Nobody is, you are committing something that's called a straw man fallacy. We are telling you that you need to take steps towards the military, towards war of attrition. It does not necessitate for it to go to the wars of attrition. You put military pressure for them to subside and come back to the negotiating table. So when you say ceasefire, they say, fine, we'll give you a ceasefire. We want this in return. You negotiate, it's game over. But if you put no military pressure, there's absolutely zero reason for them to follow you. There is no even economical pressure, yet alone military pressure. Nobody cut gas, nobody cut anything. Very little is being done other than the fact that the economy of the Zionist state is being annihilated because of the threat of the North. Hezbollah. One nation made them run in circles. So yes, they were supposed to take the measures and the steps to put political and military pressure on them. All they needed to do was park a few rocket launchers in the Sinai Peninsula, a few tanks. You bring down a few tanks from Turkey, you put them in Syria. Yes, Syria has already been destroyed because of the Zionist regime. So now we need to rely a little bit on our friend in Turkey, and then the people in Iraq should have been given a clear light to go park some stuff in Jordan. Jordan didn't need to go to the border because Jordan is the easiest nation that could put that political pressure on the Zionist state because of the size of the border. But to all of this, you didn't consider. You think that we're just saying, oh, war, go jump. You're crazy then. If this is what you think, how it's done, you're crazy. You fight the devil the way he's fighting you. If he's going to stand there and be a big guy and put guns in front of you, oh, sorry, daddy, please don't hurt me. And you're a pussy.
But their deterrence is nothing but escalation and expansion of bloodshed. I mean, do you imagine that if the Arab states had declared war against Israel a month ago, say on October 8th or October 9th, do you really think that Gaza would look any different today than it does right now?
Yes. Yes, because a lot of the resources would have been put somewhere else. They would have had to split their army even more. The bombs that they dropped in Gaza, they would have had to save for a long war. No, just like how you think everyone's just going to, declare war and jump in and start killing. They're not just going to be like, okay, nuclear bomb, just click nuclear bomb. No. There is escalation patterns, and you need to escalate proportionally so that you could subdue the enemy, you could subdue the threat. Not everything is the way you see it, as how you see it in your sophisticated mind when you want to take off your glasses to show that it's an easy point. So you want to hide it to show that you have class. I can read you, as many people can read you, but nobody is taking you seriously on a high level because we understand that you're just a parrot. But at the same time, that people who do not see the world from a certain view are being manipulated by you.
Why, instead of 10,000 dead, we'd be looking at double that number or triple that number, 50,000 dead in Gaza today. And then add to that casualties that would be in Egypt, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, not to mention in Iran.
You guys want to see how he's about to just jump out of the fold of Islam and disbelieve in all of God's promises in one line? Here you go.
Those American warships that are floating in the Mediterranean Sea right now would have been activated. A Western coalition would have already been carpet bombing the entire region. Maybe Al-Aqsa would have been destroyed. Maybe the Prophet's Masjid. Maybe the Kaaba.
You see how he zooms at it? Maybe the Kaaba. Guys, don't fight the Americans and the Zionists. Let them win because they might destroy the Kaaba. What are you talking about? What do you mean destroy the Kaaba? What book are you reading? When Abraham said to his Lord, make the city safe, make the city safe, make the city safe, and give its people provisions, whoever among them who believes in God in the last day. And God said, whoever disbelieves, I will give him some provisions, and then I will send him to hell. This means he accepted Abraham's promise. التين والزيتون وطور سنين وهذا البلد الأمين. God is saying that this is a safe zone. This is a safe city. ومن دخله فكان آمنا. God is promising you that whoever comes in the city, he is safe. Like, you really think that God is going to allow somebody to break his promise and make the city unsafe and destroy it using nuclear weapons? God has all the asteroids. One asteroid will remove you all the nuclear weapons and everything that they've been doing in a single touch. And yeah, their satellites might not be able to see or spot this all of a sudden appear asteroid. You don't know what you're saying at all at this point. You actually went out of the fold of Islam, in my opinion, because you disbelieved in God's promise that he will keep this city safe after he promised multiple times. فَلَا أَقْسِمُ بِهَذَا الْبَلَدِ. He's literally swearing upon this city, Mecca. He's swearing upon this city, Mecca, that he's going to keep it safe. They don't even have a chance to press the button. You in your own exegesis that say that Surah Al-Fil, the companions of the elephant, when they came to destroy the Kaaba, God removed them in a supernatural way. And God will make it an example for the rest of humanity. If anyone's coming close to the city of where Abraham raised it in the name of God for a house, for a sanctuary, for people to come eat and sleep without being bothered, whoever believes in God in the last day, if you really think he's going to allow people to cross the line and destroy it, then you are somebody who is so twisted, who is so scared, who's such a coward that you want to make people believe that God will not protect the believers, nor will he protect Abraham's promise, nor will he protect the city that he said that he will protect, just so that you don't fight, just so that you don't go stand up against the antichrist, anti-God system called Zionism. What are you talking about? Which Quran do you read?
Well, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm telling you, these people are uncivilized. They're savage.
So you just explain to them, you explain to everybody that they're savages, they're devils. You don't fight the devil. The devil's plan isn't weak. God's going to assist the devil over the believers. What crack are you smoking?
Don't you see that they're whitewashing Israeli bombing of hospitals? Israeli bombing of ambulances, of mosques, of schools, of churches. They don't see us as human beings. Why on earth do you imagine that they wouldn't, in a heartbeat, make Mecca and Medina the next Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Because we have the promise of God. That's why. What you just said there is a statement of disbelief. The city is safe no matter what.